Hi, my name is Rhonda Hill. I am the founder and director of Race and Faith, and I want to take a moment to introduce you to our framework, what grounds us in our work and our thinking, and what we hope will provide you with a deeper experience as you take this journey and learn more about yourself as it relates to racism. So we start with our grounding scripture. Um, it is from Mark chapter 12, verse 30. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. This grounds us and informs us and letting us understand and see that we come to this work with all of who we are. This instruction that Jesus has placed here as he's talking to his disciples about how to love God, which is in every aspect, heart, soul, mind, strength. We take that same thought and pull it to our work and say, hey, we want to do that same thing when we talk about racism and apply that and think about that and cycle it through our heart, our soul, our mind, and then our strength. And I'll unpack a little bit more what that means in the slides to come. But it's particularly a reminder for us that we are more than our minds. I've been doing anti-racism trainings now since about 2012, and after facilitating trainings and also being a part of trainings and learning myself, it seems that the approach has been to let's just give people a lot of information. And if we give them a lot of information, then they won't be racist. But I know a lot of very smart people who know a lot of things about this subject, but they are indeed still very racist, which means it's more to it than that. And so that's when we really want to look at that again. Our heart, our mind, our soul, and our body. And so when we talk about the heart, we really are getting at what is this engage? How is this content engaging us in our emotional space? What is it making us feel? And so we are trying to get in touch with our emotions and our feelings there. And then we look at that soul space, and we look at that really particularly thinking of our morals and our ethics, those things that guide us. When we recognize that everyone we engage with may not have a Christian philosophy, and that's okay, you don't have to. But everyone does have a philosophy, a moral compass, something that guides the belief system. We want you to check in with that. How is this lining up with my belief systems? How is this lining up with my sacred text? How is this informing me overall on how I should conduct myself morally and righteously in the world? And then we get to our mind and we say, well, what is this information prompting me to think about? What more do I need to know? How am I really engaging this all analytically? Am I just in that analytical space? What am I strategizing about, if anything? And then with body, we look at that in two ways. We think about that is thinking about how we feel this information in our bodies. Where is it landing? How is it impacting us? So where is it causing me perhaps the most tension? What part of my body do I feel that? But also we look at that as action. What is this content making me want to do? So we recognize that when we engage heart, soul, mind, that strength and or that body, we are really functioning and engaging with this content as a whole person. So we invite you to bring all of who you are into this conversation about racism. So I want to give you something to think about to help you locate how you filter information first. Like, so we know we have tactile learners, we have visual learners. And so with that, we think with using that model that we also have folks who are maybe heart people, mind people. So I'll give you a scenario. Let's say you were out to dinner with some friends. You're catching up after having not seen each other for a while, having a really pleasant time. You just got your drinks, just got the appetizers, waiting for the meal. Couple tables over, a fight breaks out. What is going on with you? Are you in that heart space? Are you wondering about and concerned for the person in the fight? Are you hoping no one's hurt? Are you hoping that they're taking care of themselves? Are you in that mind space? Are you really trying to plot and plan your escape route? Are you asking yourself questions about how did the fight get started? Are you in that soul space, or really in that engaged in that moral space? Are you judging by asking like, hey, don't they know that there's families here or children here? Don't they know that this is not safe? Who raised them? Where's the manager? Why hasn't the manager intervened yet? I call it that moral judgment space. And then also it's the other space of the strength. Are you taking action? Are you getting up and you getting out of there, or are you trying to break up the fight? So where are you? Where did you first go when you heard that scenario? Just take a moment. You can pause the tape if you need to and locate yourself. Where did you first go and what did you do? No matter where you landed, we want to offer to you that might be how you first approach this conversation when it comes to race. And maybe if you said you're a heart person, you're coming in this emotion first. Perhaps maybe you're filtering things and you might tend to sit there and go through the information with maybe more what I've noticed is guilt and shame, particularly as it relates to having this conversation with a group of white people. Or perhaps you are that person that goes at it, you filter things straight through your mind first. You are saying, I need more. I need to have more information. Who wrote this? How did this come about? You have to examine the process for how the information is given to you, all of that mind space. Perhaps you're like one of my good friends. As soon as anything happened, he's out there acting first, thinking later. So you're thinking like, hey, I just want to take some action. I heard this information. Now what do? I need to go do something. Are you one of those people? And then in that last part, are you that person that is in that moral place, uh, doing a lot of judgment of others and as well as yourself? Could you perhaps be one of those people heavily leaning on your sacred text as it relates to this work and allowing that to start to feed you? Wherever you find yourself, wherever you think you may land, that's okay. We just ask you to move around that circle. And so we'll take time throughout our time together to pause and do what we like to call a quadrant temperature check. Checking in, giving you space to check in with yourself and say, hey, what's most alive for you right now? What are you feeling? What's going on with you? What's popping up for you? You may say, hey, right now I'm really having a lot of emotions that I'm sorting through. I'm really feeling guilt, or maybe angry, and that's fine. We'll just invite you to say, hey, if you're really in that heart space right now, why don't you check in with your body and see where's this information coming and popping up in your body? Where do you feel it? And then what is it making you want to do? Maybe you are in that body space and you are ready to go. You're just like, hey, I've heard this. I need to go do something. We may say, hey, okay, why don't you check in with your belief system? How is your beliefs informing you right now? How is in that space? What is that inviting you to think through or to feel or to do as you consider what actions you might want to take? How does that inform your own ethics and moral values? Perhaps you might be in the mind space. You may really be thinking about um, and entertaining more questions and really analyzing what's been said. And we might invite you, hey, check in with your heart. What does this bring up for you in the ways that it's maybe making you feel? So we'll give you that time to really approach this and sit with this for a moment as a whole person, fully engaging all of who you are into the conversation that you're receiving. So this is the Race and Faith framework for how we like to unpack and have conversations about racism and what we're thinking about when we're doing this, when we're constructing what we're putting together, is how do we get people to engage fully as who they are as a whole person. And so we recognize that you come to this as a whole person, and we want to allow you that time and that space to check in with your full being as we continue on this journey together to being more and putting forth more anti-racist practices out into the world, that we may actually begin to foster the type of acts of racial justice that we all need. So thanks, and we look forward to seeing you in future gatherings.